Today's business terrain is complex, but managing your business risks doesn't have to be. Cover Buddies is Malaysia's preferred insurance provider. Get that peace of mind knowing that our consultants can help you source and manage your insurance portfolio. For more information, visit our website at www.coverbuddies.com.
Hey guys, welcome to the pod. This is David here from the official Cover Buddies podcast. And today I've got here with me Miss Juinn Tan, founder of Hush Consulting. And she's going to be talking to us about B2B marketing and how we can navigate the complex world of marketing to businesses out there. Now, a little bit about Juinn Tan. She used to be the head of demand generation at Superhands. And then she moved on to growth marketing, and she was actually the growth marketing lead at Otter, which is basically a restaurant management software. And she was handling a regional role, which actually involved APAC, EMEA. EMEA, is that how you pronounce it, by the way?
EMEA? I think most people say EMEA. Basically, Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Yeah, that's right. Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And of course, LATAM, which is actually Latin America. And also, I think that's like 10 countries in total.
Yeah, I actually just checked it again right before this. And at one point, it was 13 countries. And then we decided to narrow the focus down to 10.
Right, and today she's the founder of Hush Consulting. Welcome to the pod, Juinn.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
So what's been happening?
Just navigating the challenges and expected chaos. So I just learned about doing taxes.
Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the process, enjoying the journey as much as possible.
Nobody enjoys doing taxes. Okay, we're going to have this conversation again in a different pod.
Maybe check in again this time next year. I'll give you a different answer probably.
Fair enough. And I guess since today we're going to be talking about B2B marketing, right? And I suppose the first question we would ask, what exactly is B2B marketing and how does it differ to, let's say, compared to B2C products and services? Maybe you can share with us a little bit.
Sure. So I think B2B is basically business to business versus B2C, business to consumer. I think just to give it that extra level of clarification for people who may not be so familiar with it. And when you're selling to a business versus a consumer market, you tend to face challenges such as the buying cycles will be a lot longer. There's usually a lot more people involved in the purchasing process. So if you're a buyer in a large MNC organization, right, usually you'll have to involve like a procurement team. You need to ask your boss for like budget approval. You need to prepare maybe like an entire pitch deck just to justify why you need to spend $500 on a particular software or whatever it is. So I think that's why there's more people involved, more approval layers. It generally does take longer until the sale is actually finalized. Versus, B2C, where as a seller, you're talking to a much larger volume of people. Decision making tends to happen maybe a little bit faster. And I think we've all been that buyer where we've made an impulsive purchase as well. Unless you're a kid and you're still getting allowance from your parents, you usually don't need to ask for, budget approval in that sense, right? So it's just a very different, mindset if we're thinking about it from like a marketing standpoint.
I think you hit the nail on the head because when I think about B2B marketing, or rather selling to businesses out there, it's very calculated. Number one, the approach is very different, I feel. And companies make decisions in a very calculated manner. Is it going to improve my ROI? Am I going to save more money? Or are we going to be a bit more efficient? Are we going to cut down on things? Whereas I feel that sometimes like B2C, when we're selling, for example, a cool pair of jeans or a cool pair of shoes and so forth, it is very much more emotional, perhaps.
And well, actually, and something that I've learned like maybe a little bit more recently is that the B2B process, it is also, there is an element of like emotion involved in it. It's just that it's very specific to the person who your product or service is going to directly benefit. So something that my mentor taught me when it comes to sales, the end user of your product or service, right? One question that we always have to think about to empathize with them is like, how do I not get you fired? Or how do I not get fired from my job? So that's where the emotion comes in. How is this going to make them look good to their boss?
And what are the biggest mistakes the most common mistakes I would say that when it comes to marketing to B2B markets?
Number one is definitely just not spending enough time to understand the buyers. I've been fortunate enough to have spoken to, I would say, companies of very different sizes and maturity. And I think one of the things that really took me by surprise that even companies that are making, millions in revenue, have been around for 50 years, even they struggle to answer the question of who do you sell to in a precise manner. The most common question that I get all the time when I ask this is people will say like, oh, we sell to everyone. But realistically, I don't believe that that's possible at all. I think for them, they'll look through like a list of customers and then they'll see there is like a whole variety of people who have bought from them before. But there is value in you as an organization to spend time and effort to think about, who is the best fit for your product and service. Because if you don't do that, you'll end up wasting a lot of budget and resources on selling to the wrong people. What I mean by this is that like people who maybe, like your sale can go through, but then their demands of, how much you hold their hand, how much account management you need to do, how much customer service you need to do, like it's very different as well. So I think that's one thing I would say, that people really just underestimate. And in fact, they just don't do it all. Is really just understanding who they're selling to and who their buyers are. Be, like your sale can go through, but then their demands of, how much you hold their hand, how much account management you need to do, how much customer service you need to do, like it's very different as well. So I think that's one thing I would say, that people really just underestimate. And in fact, they just don't do it all. Is really just understanding who they're selling to and who their buyers are.
I have been guilty of that. And we've tried different strategies over time where we tried, like, for example, inbound marketing, content related stuff. We've done ads, email newsletters, and that sort of stuff. And it took us a while actually to sort of find our niche and find the correct strategy to, that gave us the best returns, or at least helped us attract the right type of customers.
I can empathize because even I myself have made that mistake before. I think especially coming from a marketing standpoint, the job of understanding the buyers is not just something that falls within the sales team's purview. It's important for you as a marketer as well to understand who the sales teams need to talk to or are talking to, because like you said, like it helps you as a marketer like understand what channels are best for you to invest your not just budget but also your attention and time too. There's no way you can do everything in one shot, especially with even if you have like a slightly bigger team, like focus will still give you more results than spreading everybody thin. Whatever you went through, I understand. I feel like it's something that maybe everybody needs to experience at least once. Then only they know, like,
I don't want to do it again, though. Let's not do it again.
yeah, no, we definitely won't do it again. If you do it again, that means you're not learning from it, right? But if you do it once, you can at least say that, okay, we've tried these channels and, we can say for sure that it definitely doesn't work.
So, Juinn, for the purpose of our listeners, right? I mean, when would you say would be the right time to sort of like get an agency or get someone to help you? Because, most of us here are founder-led businesses, where that means the founder is in every deal. To you, what would be the best time, or when would you know it's time to actually get some help?
I have the really not so nice answer of it depends on the nature of your business, your goals, how aggressively do you want to scale. There are merits to having somebody internal versus external and vice versa. each one of them requires a different type of monetary and time investment as well. So these are the things that you need to take into account in order to decide whether or not you should hire someone internally or outsource it to an agency or a freelancer. Maybe let me start with like the internal one first. Most people, when they talk about wanting to start building an internal marketing team, right? Especially if there is no one else in the leadership team who have the experience of leading a marketing function or marketing related function, most people tend to go for a more junior role. Um, I have been trying to educate people within my network or my clients to actually avoid that, which I can understand for them is quite scary because if you want to hire a senior marketer, the salary is higher, and when people see higher salary, they see higher risk, that sort of stuff. But the value of getting somebody who is already experienced means, right, when they come in, they don't have to spend as long as the time to try and figure out what they need to do for your business from a marketing standpoint to meet your goals. You as a founder or a CEO, you'll need to do less hand holding if you hire somebody who is more senior because they will ideally be coming to you to ask you for the things that they need in order to decide what is the best next step for them or to start building out your marketing function. So that's on the, if you were to go down the route of deciding to hire someone internally. Now, on the freelancer or agency side, it takes work to find like the right freelancer. There's a lot of freelancers. I think we're pretty spoiled for choice in that sense. But just understand that the time that you imagine you would spend looking for somebody full time is pretty much going to be the same for somebody who is freelancing. Agencies also, you have to go through like multiple pitch rounds and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I would say like the best place to start is, see how much time and budget you have to invest in this. And then not just at the searching phase, but even after they come on board, you still need to spend time and budget to onboard them to make sure that they are held accountable to their goals.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I suppose also if you're lucky enough to actually find a freelancer or agency per se, I don't think it matters so much, but the right person that is strong in that area, right? Because from my understanding, when you talk about, let's say, demand generation and digital marketing and so forth, it's so wide these days. And we're not just talking about, pay per click. It's a lot more than that, right?
Yeah. And I think that applies also with, again, with whether it's an internal or external outsource option. Like you said, like the skill set is so varied. If somebody tells you that they can do it all, they're highly likely not being very honest. Even it's again, like whether it's internal or external agency, everyone has their areas of expertise. So I think the time and effort that you need to invest also goes into thinking about what it is exactly that you want to you want to achieve out of scaling up the marketing function or just your marketing activities for your company in general.
I totally agree with that because I think what's really important is to be able to find the right person. And the right person, what I mean is that has experience in basically working in your industry, doing that sort of marketing and has obviously succeeded in it before. Because the last thing you want is to like hire the wrong person and the whole thing just falls flat and you lose money along the way.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slightly nuanced answer. I think what I've seen is that like having experience in your industry definitely has its benefits, especially if you're in a very technical space. So, for example, I used to work in Superhands. We were in the AI space, and there are so many technical concepts that are just not commonly known by the general public that we needed to pick up on in order to know how to communicate not just what our product actually does, but even just, being able to speak the same lingo as the people that we're selling to was really important. So it does help. And it does give like a very huge advantage. But I think what I'm beginning to see is that not all industries have the benefit of being able to choose only people who come from their industry. I've spoken to people who are in manufacturing, right? A little bit more old school. I would say like not a little bit, like quite old school in that sense. Like manufacturing has been around. Yeah, it's traditional. They've been around for hundreds of years. And I think most of the new generation marketers or workers in general, when they think of manufacturing, they will probably think like, no, why would I join this over like a tech company? So talent attraction becomes very tricky for them. So it becomes a bit harder for them to think about only wanting to pick somebody who has a manufacturing background. And they see the value in bringing in like a fresh pair of eyes from somebody who has not been maybe so jaded by the manufacturing industry in general. So yeah, it has its benefits, but I wouldn't say it should be a deal breaker if somebody doesn't come from that background. I think what's more important is just assessing whether or not they have the capability to learn and pick up the important concepts that's related to your industry, and whether or not you can even help them upskill and learn about it as soon as possible.
And from my understanding, I know that there are some marketers out there who basically would always set aside a little bit of budget and resources to sort of try new approaches, new things on new platforms and so forth. What are your thoughts on that?
I am more of an advocate of there should always have marketing in general, especially in B2B. There needs to be an element of experimentation that comes into play. Whatever that we are doing now that we are still working, it's not going to continue working for the next 10 years. And in fact, I feel like it's part and parcel of being a marketer, where we need to constantly keep learning and staying on top of, the different methodologies that work. When I first started, Facebook marketing and Facebook advertising was all the rage.
Right? I
And
remember that
it
time.
was like, if you don't know Facebook marketing, right, that's like you're not getting hired. But nowadays, it's lessened. I wouldn't say it's not important anymore, but the importance is definitely lessened because there's so many other new platforms
Exactly.
that pop up. Now we need to be better at like using AI-enabled platform, programmatic advertising, that sort of stuff. These things didn't exist,
Yeah.
more
There are
than
more
10 years
choices
ago.
now, right?
Yeah, so I that's why I say like it's if you're in that space where you are maybe a little bit more stubborn about trying new things, then there's only so far that you can go within your not just your career as a marketer, but even just your organization's growth. Like if you're restricting your marketing team from trying out new stuff, they're gonna hit a wall eventually. So you might as well just you stop that or preemptively stop that from happening by encouraging the spirit of experimentation and just making it okay for them to, allocate some budget towards that without the expectation of or the pressure of getting that ROI out of it.
Thanks, Juinn. Lots of useful advice here, all coming from your experience as a B2B marketer, not only from a local level, but also on a regional level. So lastly, is there any way that our listeners maybe can reach out to you to sort of like inquire about your services and also maybe some advice?
I would say LinkedIn would be the number one way. I'm pretty much always on there. So you can find me on LinkedIn. Just look up my name, Juinn Tan.
That's Juinntan, Juinn Tan.
Yes, Juinn. Either that or they can email me, Juinn, Juinn, at Hush Consulting. So that's HUSH consulting.xyz.
That's great. That's a great extension.
It was the cheaper extension. Hushconsulting.com was way too expensive.
Oh gosh. Thanks for your honesty, Juinn.
I'm a business owner now too, I understand.
No worries, Juinn. Thanks for joining us on the pod today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really had fun.
Have a good one.
If you enjoyed our show today, be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media, or sign up for our newsletter through our website at www.coverbuddies.com so you'll get all the good stuff sent directly to you.